It's December 13th, 2024, and today marked a crucial moment for African leadership. Raila Odinga went head-to-head with Djibouti's Mahmoud Ali Yusuf and Madagascar's Richard James Randriamandro to, of course, in a debate for the African Union Commission chairmanship ahead of the election in February 2025. Raila shared his vision for Africa's future, focusing on advancing education, healthcare, value addition, and trade to help the continent realize its potential. Stay tuned for more on this and much more right here. I am Remy Majala, and Friday Live begins now. The selection of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission in jeopardy after the High Court declares the IEBC Amendment Act of 2023 unconstitutional. The National Treasury set to disburse an additional 32 billion shillings to county governments as part of the equitable share of revenue by Thursday next week.
I did commit that we are going to spend 20 billion. In actual fact, we are going to spend 28 billion in the modernization program of our police service.
President William Ruto announces the rollout of new police uniforms under a 28 billion shilling modernization program designed to improve law enforcement infrastructure.
Pass a resolution.
And Raila Odinga debates Djibouti's Mahmoud Ali Yusuf and Madagascar's Richard James Randriamandro in the fight for the African Union Commission chairmanship. Now, our sign language interpreter for tonight is Clement Mule. Now, the process of selecting members for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC panel has been thrown into disarray after the High Court invalidated the law outlining the recruitment procedure. Justice Lawrence Mugambi ruled that the IEBC Amendment Act of 2023, which specified the criteria for choosing panel members, was unconstitutional. This decision follows a petition by Busia Senator Okiom Tata, who challenged the amendments, arguing that they were made without proper public participation. With the law now nullified, the selection process is effectively paused until a new constitutionally sound procedure is established. Now, the government has announced the disbursement of 32 billion shillings for that matter, and this is to happen by Thursday next week, for that matter, I beg your pardon. The Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki, made this announcement while chairing a session of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, that is IEBC. This move follows consultations, I beg your pardon, between the national government and the Council of Governors aimed at resolving delays in county disbursements, a matter that has led to a stalling of events in counties due to unmet allocations and a pending balance of 4 billion shillings, that is. David Kagina has more on that report.
Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki chaired the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council meeting to address the persistent issue of delayed disbursements to counties. This high-stakes discussion was centered on resolving the prolonged stalemate that has severely affected county operations and service delivery. Kindiki emphasized the importance of collaboration between key institutions like the Council of Governors and the Controller of Budget to resolve these delays effectively. During the meeting, the DP announced that the National Treasury is set to disburse 32 billion to county governments by Thursday, December 19th. He highlighted that this move is critical for ensuring counties remain operational and can meet their financial obligations during the critical period.
that the Office of the Deputy President convene a high-level meeting for both levels of government to resolve identified issues and concerns relating to the following: the ICRMS system for revenue collection, outstanding disbursements arising from the county government additional allocation 2023-2024, fast track of the mediation for the 2024-2025 county government additional allocation bill currently before Parliament, and the mechanism to isolate donor funds to secure their distinctive disbursement to county governments.
While the announcement offers a much-needed reprieve, concerns linger among the county representatives. The County Assembly's forum has raised dissatisfaction over additional pending disbursements amounting to 4 billion Kenyan shillings. Governors insist that the delays have disrupted county budgets and development plans, with some counties struggling to sustain essential services.
Sisi tutapigana hii vita na tutahakikisha ya kwamba hakuna supplementary itapitishwa kwa assembly zote 47 ambazo ziko, kwa sababu haiwezekani ya kwamba wananchi watolewe watoshwe kodi kubwa alafu pesa zitolewe kuongezea ati chai ya governor, ati governor aweze kusafiri, yule alisafiri Malaysia last year, sasa aende India. Hiyo haiwezekani.
The forum has warned that unless IBEC and the National Treasury adopt a long-term solution, counties may be forced to seek legal intervention to enforce adherence to constitutional provisions for equitable revenue allocation. They also pointed out the significant challenges posed by these delays, particularly in meeting critical financial commitments such as settlement of pending bills.
You cannot support one arm of government, muscle the other arm of government, and expect that devolution will get stronger. And as I said recently, even our brothers from the other side, the COG and the governors, this is not the time for them to celebrate the increment on the recurrent budget as we reduce drastically the recurrent budget of the county assemblies. And as I said, if we cannot stand together as the family of county assemblies, then let's be very ready soon to bury the entirety of the counties, to bury the entirety, the aspirations that were placed in the Constitution, because today is the county assemblies, tomorrow will be the county executive. And I told them.
During the meeting, Kindiki urged counties to prioritize the clearance of pending bills, particularly for completed projects and services already delivered. This, he stated, would restore trust with suppliers and local communities. He also emphasized the need for counties to effectively utilize allocated funds to improve essential services and deliver on their mandate, highlighting the importance of accountability in public resource management.
Guided by the spirit of collaboration and coordination, and the need to minimize bureaucracy in service delivery, the chairperson of IBEC has called on all devolution stakeholders to work in harmony, devoid of undue bureaucracy, for purposes of efficient service delivery to the citizens of the Republic of Kenya.
The second-in-command reiterated the government's commitment to ensuring timely disbursement of funds in the future, stressing that collaboration among stakeholders is key to overcoming these challenges and promoting efficient county governance. For K24, I'm David Kagina.
Now, the Kenya Magistrates and Judges Association, KMJA, has condemned escalating online attacks against judiciary members, particularly those led by some members of the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, as unconstitutional and harmful to judicial independence. The association warned that such actions undermine public confidence in the judiciary and pose risks to Kenya's democracy, while emphasizing the importance of constructive criticism through formal mechanisms. The judiciary reaffirmed its commitment to addressing inefficiencies through platforms like court user committees and bar bench committees to enhance transparency and accountability.
Noted the online onslaught, which is so systemic, from specific members who have held leadership positions like the 49th president of the LSK and a former commissioner of the JSC, Mr. Ahmed Nasir.
The association has keenly analyzed these online attacks, their systematic nature, execution, and sustained onslaught demonstrates an unorthodox and unconstitutional attempt to cajole the judiciary, its leadership, judges, and magistrates towards a self-serving agenda. A meeting has been scheduled for next week between the leadership of the judiciary and the Law Society of Kenya, and that will be amongst the topics for discussion. We call upon all stakeholders and all Kenyans to engage in good faith and recognize the judiciary's role as the beacon of hope in our democratic society. Together, let us fortify our institutions, ensuring that they serve the interest of all and maintain the confidence of the public.
Now, President William Ruto has announced an increase in the cost of modernizing the National Police Service, now estimated at 28 billion Kenya shillings, up from the initial 20 billion. This development comes as plans to roll out new police uniforms, procure 3,000 vehicles, and construct 17,000 housing units for officers are set to commence. Now, the President has also called on Kenyans to respect law enforcement officers, emphasizing that there is no compromise on upholding the rule of law. Joel Chacha now reports on the latest developments, including changes within the correctional services.
Men and women.
President William Ruto presided over the launch of the National Police Service Strategic Plan 2023-2027, outlining key reforms aimed at strengthening the service. The plan includes an additional 8 billion Kenya shillings to address key reforms.
Already, in the last 2 years, we have spent 9 billion shillings in the modernization program. I did commit that we are going to spend 20 billion. In actual fact, we are going to spend 28 billion in the modernization program of our police.
The president announced the rollout of new police uniforms designed to boost morale and instill pride among officers.
We will engage the police men and women so that we can have an appropriate uniform. I know that has been agreed upon, and what is awaiting now is for us to roll out and make sure that we kit our police men and women with uniform that gives them an inspiration to work.
Sometimes you can actually laugh if it wasn't a serious issue. Those fellows who are saying that, some of them have sat with them in the National Security Council. And my brother here can bear me out. They have never said one thing about the police, one, when we are in those meetings. They will only talk about the police if there is a tender. Now they are saying they are the ones who are going to provide solutions. They know nothing about the investments that we have made.
The procurement of these uniforms had previously sparked debate over whether they should be locally manufactured or imported.
Sasa wewe na wakora wako mahali mlikubaliana mtanunua uniform, utaenda uwaeleze hivi, hatutanunua uniform kutoka kwingine. It's as simple as that.
Polisi wetu wametumiwa vibaya na Matiang'i. Hata ile uniform wamesukumiwa, ile ya blue hawataki, tutawaondolea tuwarudishie ile ya zamani. Na hiyo ya blue turudishe kanisa ya PCA, hiyo ni uniform ya Women's Guild.
A large portion of their budget will also go towards acquiring 3,000 vehicles, while correctional services have been granted approval to lease vehicles to serve officers and transport prisoners.
By early next year, we will deliver the first 1,000 vehicles. We intend to deliver 3,000 vehicles for our police stations.
In housing reforms, the head of state has also revealed plans to purchase 17,000 housing units, with only 1,000 being constructed as part of the ongoing reforms in the service.
1,000 are under construction and 17,000 additional houses for the police. We are at the tail end of procurement.
President Ruto reiterated the importance of respecting police officers during day-to-day interactions, urging Kenyans to avoid vilifying or attacking them.
While our security men and women are doing their utmost, they are being attacked, they are being vilified, they have no support. It cannot work. We have to strike a balance as the police and other security agencies discharge their responsibility, citizens on their part, we must live in accordance with the rule of law. We must respect the police.
The strategic plan also includes the digitization of the occurrence book or bin numbers and the adoption of ICT surveillance systems to address emerging crime trends. Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Now, Kenya's African Union candidate Raila Odinga today faced off with two other candidates in a debate to lay down their agenda for the continent. The candidates were taken through 4 rounds of questioning that focused on how they plan to ensure Africa leverages its resources, how they will help in restoring peace in Africa and the continent a seat in the United Nations Security Council, boosting Pan-Africanism, and also how they plan to help streamline the Africa Union's agenda. Raila said he is the right candidate for the job, promising to leverage his influence to ensure that the continent will be able to stand on its feet.
As you know, that the UN was formed at a time when most parts of Africa were colonies. And that's why the UN structure as today does not deal with the realities of the world today. And the situation where you have 5 countries sitting in the Security Council with veto powers, and Africa is not represented, a continent with 1.4 billion people, is not tenable and it's not accessible. And that's why I'm not going to talk about Africa's representation, but we're going to insist that Africa must get 2 permanent seats in the UN Security Council. This is only fair, because we are a continent of 55 sovereign nations. We cannot be excluded when Europe has got 3 permanent representations on the Security Council. Permanent representation with the veto powers is a must for Africa. And this I'm going to insist when I'm elected. If the heads of state of Africa sees fit that I should lead this, I will work together with all the leadership of the continent to ensure that the continent gets a fair treatment on the international scene.
Now, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has continued to intensify his opposition against the government of President William Ruto. Kalonzo has called out the head of state for lashing out at citizens, urging Kenyans to remain vigilant and not be intimidated. Kalonzo said Ruto's anger and war of words on his citizens is unpresidential. Brian Amwai now reports.
As the government declares war on its critics, the opposition coalition maintains it will not relent in pointing out the ills in government. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka castigated the head of state for referring to Kenyans as stupid and possessed. Speaking as he attended the end-year interdenominational prayers in Nairobi, the former vice president called on the church to remain steadfast in putting the government in check, calling on them to be careful with the latest moves that have seen President William Ruto invite members of the clergy to State House.
Na ukiona kiongozi anashikwa na hasira, ujue hapo basi kuna shida, aombewe. Aombewe. Yani anaita watu majina mabaya. Wajinga. Sasa kiongozi wa nje akiita watu wajinga, hiyo pana sawa. Hata mwenye kanisa sasa mmepatwa na mapepo. Sijaona mapepo mabaya hapa. Imagine kwamba there's an evil spirit. We must have a conversation about the evil spirit.
He has started again. Viongozi wa kanisa, hii mambo ya kuitwa State House ni binu mpya. Mtabebwa tena na mtaenda tukiwaangalia. Tunawaomba tafadhali msifanye lingine kama hilo mlifanya last time.
Anaanza kushambulia kanisa. Anaanza kushambulia upinzani. Akaanza kuwaita majina ya kwamba ni mapepo, ya kwamba ni wajinga, ya kwamba ni watu hamuelewi chochote. Mjue basi hapo palipo na moshi pana nini? Pana moto. Na leo tuko hapa kuambia Mheshimiwa William Ruto, tumekusikiza jana ukishambulia upinzani. Na sisi leo tutakwambia yale kanisa imesema ni ukweli na ni ukweli mtupu. Yale sisi upinzani tunasema ni ukweli na ukweli mtupu. Palipo ukweli ukidhihiri, uongo hujitenga. Na kama upinzani wa Kenya na kanisa leo twasema hatutaogopa kuendelea kusema ukweli and speaking truth to power.
As the government plans to vaccinate over 70 million livestock, the move has elicited debate, receiving objections to the chagrin of the president. Kalonzo now says the move is ill-informed and an attempt to enrich a few through dubious means.
Uenda ukweli ukawa, katika kila ng'ombe moja anayedungwa hiyo sindano, vaccination, kuna mtu fulani anapata 40 shillings. If there are 2 million, how many animals are we talking about? Wamesema tuko na ng'ombe wangapi? 22 million. Hebu multiply by 40 shillings. Tajua mzungu anapata nini hapo na wale ambao wana uhusiano wa aina hii. 2 billion shillings mtu anataka kuchukua kutokana na Kenya imekuwa nchi ya maajabu.
With the state of the opposition hanging by a thread, the leaders now say they are committed to standing with Kenyans as they maintain former President Uhuru Kenyatta is not part of the Ruto-led administration, and the visit by the head of state to Ichaweri should not be mistaken for dalliance between the two.
Vile Waititu wamesema ni kweli. Sisi tutakaa na raia. Hatuwezi toka kwa raia tuende pahali pengine popote. Lakini nataka kuwakumbusha, mtu mwenye hajahama kwa raia ilikuwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Alituambia tangu mwanzo ya kwamba hapo mnaenda kwa shida. Hata wakati huu mnaweza hama mumwache, yeye atakuwa na raia. Ukitaka kutembea kwake, tembea kwake. Lakini yako na raia. Halo? Tumeelewana? Kwa sababu wengine wanasema maneno mingi kwa sababu Ruto alienda kwa wewe. Ukikuta mzee kwa boma yako pale kwa gate, utafungua gate ya igie ama utafungua ubwa kule.
The leaders maintain that despite having been wooed to join the Ruto government, they are resolute in their resolve to remain an opposition the nation can count on, as they promise to give a clear direction in the coming days. Brian Amuai, K24, Nairobi.
Baada ya kutumia damu ya Yesu na mwili wa Yesu Kristo, shine, 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 you shine and you shine, and just in the name of Jesus.
As the sun rises, so do we, as we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your day. StarTime's home solar solution with solar panels, hybrid inverter, and lithium battery, powering your prosperity and happier life.